Welcome to another episode of the Social Agents Podcast. On this episode, we have these two great, amazing people. I got Jaslene and Jesus Chavez.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Pleasure to be here, man. Thank you.
I know you guys. I met you guys. Well, I've been following you guys for a long time on social media.
Right.
Because you guys have a great presence. I love the video that you guys are doing. You guys do really high quality video.
Yeah. I mean, I would say we're definitely newer to the social media space and really taking it for a full ride.
Right.
But we're experimenting, as we're going, and we're definitely looking to take it all the way. So big shout out to our videographer Jonathan over at Flex Media. He's friggin' awesome, dude. So he makes whatever I give him sound amazing. So huge shout out to him.
And I could test that behind the scenes.
I know. Yeah, but much like anything, we're experimenting and we're getting there by trying out different things.
Good.
Right.
So he helps you out with all that. We all know we have our co-host Justin.
What's up, guys?
On today.
Super excited for this one. This one's gonna be good.
Yeah. Justin's great. He comes with actually all the best questions.
Right.
Awesome.
I'm just like the pretty face, right? And he actually has the intelligent questions. What he's talking about.
It's a good dynamic. We
Yeah.
It is. 'Cause he'll teach me these words, right? We're talking about it with Luke earlier. He's, I was like, don't patronize me. And Luke's like, whoa, that's a big word.
Yeah.
I learned that from Justin. So you guys are in good hands.
You're like, hey Siri, what's up?
I know, I'm like,
Patronize
insert
me.
Wikipedia.
What's another word you taught me recently?
Patronize.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll think of something.
Yeah, we'll run with that. So
Superstitious.
yeah, right. So kind of going into what you guys do, right? I know you guys have a huge passion. You guys have a home dream. Tell us a little bit about how that got going. But actually, before that, how did you guys get into real estate just in general?
Oh. Well, I had no interest in real estate whatsoever, to be honest. I have a degree in criminal justice that I got back in 2014. So I graduated high school in 17, graduated my BA at 21, and I was already dating him. I had got a job at the DA's office as a victim assistant, so we're helping victims of crime, right? So they just went through something super traumatic, and I thought that's the route that I wanted to go. I wanted to go to law school and be a DA and do all that fun stuff. Well, God had different plans for us. We had our daughter, and he's a full-time firefighter for a local city here. And so I know that's what I said.
I wasn't even hired as a firefighter yet.
I see you.
No, he wasn't.
I see you as in uniform, bro. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
On our
man.
first date, he even told me he was a fireman.
Oh,
I'm like, why is
really?
your head
I want to keep
shaved?
the secret.
Yeah.
Dang,
He was
all
like,
right.
oh, I just have an important interview tomorrow. I'm like, oh, okay.
Nice.
Proceeded
nice.
to go to Dave & Buster's. So that was my plan, right? We talked about it. I was like, I know that we're going to have a baby. I was like 8 months pregnant, still studying for the LSAT. I got into Whittier College Law School. And then they shut down. Their law school program just shut down. So I'm
we're
like,
done.
okay, well, maybe it's just not meant to be.
Talk about divine intervention, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, there's no way, because I used to take the metro from Norwalk all the way to downtown LA. So that's no, not fun. I was like, there's no way, especially with his schedule at the time, there's no way I'm going to have a newborn baby, trying to drop her off somewhere, catch some metro at 7 a.m. and just do all that stuff. And so he's like, okay, well, stay home for the year. Stood home, had a full identity crisis. So I'm like, who am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I have a degree. I thought I was this, and this. And now, that just gets stripped away from you. And
Yeah.
you're just a mom. But now looking back at it, it's you're not just a mom. You're someone's full-on life support, to a little baby. So I stood home for the year. And he's like, well, get your real estate license. I was like, there ain't no way. Realtors are cheesy. I'm not trying to sell no houses.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
He's like, well, just do it for us. We're going to get into investing and all this stuff. At that time, we had just our first house, our primary home. I was like, fine, I'll do it for you. So I got my license. And then I didn't know you had to hang out with a brokerage.
That's important.
Yeah, I found a brokerage. I started going to the training. So I was like, wow, I think I actually can do this. I think that I came from a background of helping people. And I'm like, I think I could actually really help people with this license. And so we took it from there. So that's how I started. And then he fell in love with obviously began to develop more into the investing side of it. And that's how he ended up, coming along.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
think,
so you don't have your license.
So I do. I
Oh, you do?
actually
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're a cheesy realtor with us, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And actually, it's something that is recent, if you will. You know,
Okay.
and I think for me, it was more validity, and it was
Right.
more just to immerse myself within the field. Obviously, I'm not going to do any public sales or anything like that. Everything will be just investment properties. But I would say the start for me, and she kind of mentioned on it, was getting into real estate investing. You know, I think I saw the real benefits of home ownership and how far it could take you. And specifically with our first house, is we ended up buying our first house. We ended up getting a discounted deal, and fixed it up, and then eventually went to sell it. And I'm like, whoa, I bought it for this much, and now we're able to sell it for this much, which was insane to me. And you're talking to someone that's lived a very humble lifestyle, who grew up very humbly, if you will.
Right.
So seeing that amount of money it was crazy, dude. That it was like a dream, So then that's when I started kind of researching. Obviously, that doesn't happen with every single deal, at least not off the get-go. But it introduced me to real estate investing, which is ultimately what I'm passionate about now. So I would say for us, it's a nice balance, if you will, because she deals with like the public sales, everything, and she does an awesome job at it. And like I said, I primarily deal with real estate investing, our portfolio, helping people look at purchasing a property from an investment standpoint and looking to see how they're looking on the back end, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what are my exit strategies? Once I buy the house, what can I eventually do with this?
So what year was it when you ended up selling your first home?
I want to say it was around 2014.
Okay.
2014.
Oh, wow.
No, that's when we bought it.
2015. Was it?
Yeah, because Jay
Okay.
was born 2016. Yeah, we bought it like 2014, 2015. And then we sold it actually in 2019 because supposedly there was going to be a recession that year. And like, we're like, oh my gosh, recession. But that doesn't necessarily mean a housing crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we kind of learned, I want to say the hard way, but that was definitely a learning lesson for us.
Yeah.
So we sold it, but with that property, and I know that you'll touch on it a little later, but we ended up not only making money, but then that's how we bought our triplex.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So what were the numbers, if you guys remember, from that first deal?
Yeah, so we ended up buying and I'm going to step back a little bit. So the lady that was selling the property was originally going to sell it to like, those television advertisements you see where like, oh, sell your house now, blah, blah, blah. So they were going to sell it to someone that was just running an advertisement. So her grandpa, and we'd been looking for like 5-6 months.
We're getting outbid.
We're getting
everywhere.
outbid left and right. Her grandpa was just walking the neighborhood one day, ended up talking to the lady, and she goes, hey, I'm moving out of state. I'm just going to sell my house to someone I saw on a commercial.
Right.
So he ended up telling us about it, and because he goes, hey, my granddaughter and her husband are looking. Would you mind maybe selling to them? And she ended up selling to us. So original purchase price was, I want to say it was $275.
No way.
Which is unheard of.
And
which
Whittier.
is crazy.
And Whittier.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was like it was like 1,000 square feet. It was like a 3-1.
Yeah.
Totally needed to be fixed up. So it's essentially the price that a wholesaler would have gotten it
Yeah.
for. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So which was awesome. So then we obviously cut out the wholesaler, cut out, I want to say, an agent at that time, other than someone just writing up the deal for us.
Like a TC.
Yeah, just like a
basically.
TC fee. And then we eventually ended up selling it in 2019 for $550. Yeah, $555.
But I'm
Which,
like, no,
I
it's worth
said,
$750.
and you look at those numbers, and like I said, it might not seem astronomical, but I know, like I said, for us, it was life changing because one, it allowed us to maintain that capital and invest that into something else. And two, which I think is even more beneficial, is allowed us to see the benefits of real estate investing and how much just even owning a property could
Right.
change not only your life, but the trajectory of your little ones, your family after you. It has a huge impact, which is
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
And we bought that house before we even knew what the term flip even meant.
Yeah, it was essentially a live and flip, but
Yeah, I mean that's perfect. That's a great way to start out because what I'm hearing from you guys, it's you guys, this is how we started, right? But it's so relatable on how a lot of other people can start because
Yeah.
Right.
it's not like you guys were handed a house, right?
At all, no.
It's like, hey, you had to go through the process of becoming. I'm sure you guys use like a first-time home buyer program or something, right? Did it qualify for that?
I want to say
Yeah, he was he bought the house. Well, because at the time it wasn't working,
Yeah.
And so I think you bought the house using probably like an FHA loan.
yeah.
That's crazy, and that's so relatable for a
Yeah.
lot of people, right?
Yeah,
Because they
absolutely.
all want that like dream home, and it's like,
Oh yeah, no.
no, we got to start somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, and you hit it right on the head. You know, even when we were looking prior to that, is, you know, and we all see those memes of like what you thought $1 million house was going to look like in California, what it actually looks like. You know, I would say for most people is be realistic in terms of what you're really going to get here in California.
Right.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be your forever home. It's just where you're starting. You know, and I feel like for a lot of us is like we want the nicest thing right away. You know, you want the nicest house, the nicest car, the nicest whatever. But you have to start off somewhere. You know, you have to start off somewhere. And it might not be the fanciest, but I guarantee you that in the long run, it's going to get the job done.
Right.
Yeah, real estate always does.
Yeah.
In the long run,
absolutely.
it's like, I know Andy says this a lot, right? Like in 10 years, like nobody loses in real
Yeah,
estate.
No.
you won't lose.
No.
You know, you might think a recession is coming and try to get out or something like that, or maybe you bought at the high point, but over time you're not going to lose. You're never
Yeah.
going to lose in real estate. So then you guys started with that one deal, live and flip. You go from there, and you mentioned that's how you bought your triplex. Where did you guys go from there, and take us to kind of where your business is at right now?
Yeah, so we ended up purchasing the triplex shortly after. It's something that, you know, for both of us, it was a little scary at first because, like I said, we're still newer. And
Yeah.
that's something, honestly, and I'll get back to your question a little bit, but that's honestly something that we embrace, you know, is like, hey, we were newer to it, but I'm going to take the leap of faith, right? Whether that's real estate investing, whether that's purchasing your first home, is you just have to take that leap of faith. And for us, like I said, it's paid off like crazy. You know, it has just snowballed. So we ended up buying that triplex, saving up more money, having it cash flow, buying another property after that, buying another property after that, and just keeping the ball rolling. You know, and that's something that for us has been huge. Not only that, but then that is the basis for our company, if you will, is being able to give back in a form of education, right? Like a lot of us, you just don't know. A lot of this stuff you were never taught in school. You were never taught at home. You were never taught by friends. It's just things that you grow up and it's like, oh, all right, you know, I'm eventually either going to rent or buy a house, but I feel like there's maybe not that many people that break it down at a specific level and how it's really going to be an advantage for you in the long run.
Yeah. But going back to that triplex, like it's so funny. I was licensed at the time, and I was like not looking for ourselves, right? I was looking for my clients. And he's like, hey, I found this triplex on Zillow. He's like, call the agent. He's like, we need to have that property. I was like,
Nice.
okay, you know? So the agent pulled like, hey, you can have it, but you have to use me as your realtor sort of thing. I was like, you can have your $15,000. I want the money in the long run.
Yeah. What
So-
year was that?
That was 2018.
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah,
2018,
yeah.
2019.
And did you guys live in that triplex at all? So you
No,
guys-
we didn't live in
No,
it.
so we
Gotcha.
didn't.
Yeah, we
Okay.
bought it straight investment, came with tenants in place
awesome.
already. So it wasn't necessarily cash flowing right away. We were probably cash flowing like 1,000. But then we had room to increase rents, do evictions. So the two out of the 3 units we did evictions on, increased the rents. And so now it's a pretty good investment. So I'm really happy that we took that leap of faith. Because sometimes I'm like, what are you doing? You know, like, oh my gosh. But I put a lot of trust in him. So I'm like, okay, like if you say things are going to be okay, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and that's another thing, and hitting on that is oftentimes the properties that need the most amount of work are going to pay off in the long run the most.
Right.
Because she talks about, you know, evictions and everything, and those are rough. Like we have videos and we have pictures of a problem tenant, and it's like you see in the movies, like everything before he left was thrashed, like the house was
Spray
and
paint
it's
everywhere.
Spray paint everywhere.
Really?
It was purposefully, you know, diminished to one, I think it was prove a point, and then 2, it was just kind of the person he was. So it took some time, you know. The lady in the middle, I think, wasn't she like housing like criminals and
She
people
was,
that
yeah,
just like
there's
get
a
out of jail?
basement. She was like housing someone underneath. And
my
so when our new tenant moved in, like the Whittier SWAT police department like raided that unit
No way.
Yeah.
because they thought that someone else was living there.
Can you
Wow.
imagine being a new tenant and
I'm
just
like,
being like
I'm
raided?
Crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually had
so
that
it does-
happen too, man.
Dude, it's crazy. So, like I said, bringing that point is, you know, properties are going to need some love. They're going to need some time to mature and eventually pay off, you know, and be at their highest potential.
Yeah, and those are some of the best deals. You know, they scare away a lot of people. And so when an investor comes in and can see what it can be, the potential of that property, not what it is, I mean, that's what you guys can turn it into. Talk about
Absolutely.
some of the, like, beginning landlord stuff. How did that go? When, now you're a homeowner, or now you're an investor, now you own a rental property, now you have tenants. Talk about how you guys navigated those processes and those challenges.
Yeah. Well, I think with the tenants, we kind of just introduced ourselves to them at first, right? Like, hey, we're the new landlords. This is how things are going to go, this and that. Let it sit with them for a while. And in our case, they came occupied, right? So we're like, hey, like we have to take ownership in this house. Like, we bought it as an investment property. We want our money to work for us. So we went through the eviction process with the middle tenant. She actually took us to court because she said that we had evicted her wrong, which was not true. The judge called that off. But so that was a full process, So I think it's just kind of learning, because we didn't know how to be landlords. I really didn't even consider myself an investor until recently because I'm like, this is cool. It's kind of a cool thing to do.
Get some little extra cash.
Yeah. But I think as you're a landlord, you're kind of really seeping what you sowed. It's like, okay, well, now what do I do with the things that I really not sure of what to do with, It's like, now it's on your lap. The first thing that we did is we renovated the properties. So I think it was renting out for $1,300, $1,400, that middle unit. We put, how much, 15,000 into it?
Yeah, 15,
20,000. And rented it right away for 27. So that's already a huge jump right there,
Yeah.
Same thing with the front one. We had him during COVID. So you can only imagine the type of person who he was. And then COVID came. He wasn't paying.
Man.
Not paying. So that was a learning lesson for us. It's like, hey, really scope your tenants and know who's living there. So now when we buy properties, I'm like, I don't care if you've been there forever. I'm still going to have you probably go through all that process. 'Cause I need to see from my own eyes that you're a good fit for the place. If not, then we're going to have to serve you a notice to vacate. So it's more learning, not to treat your properties like a business. Because sometimes I have a hard time finding that line because I want to be friendly with everyone. But at the same time, it's no, it's our money that we have in here. It's for my family's sake. So I have to treat it as if we're going to truly benefit from this. Yeah. So I think that was the biggest learning curve for me, was kind of differentiating the two. I'm your landlord, not your friend.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's always scary, right? Because you don't ever know when a COVID year is going to come and you can't take people out and you still have to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, and it really was an unfortunate situation because, like I said, it was just the type of tenant that he was. Not only that, but then it taught us at a really expensive level, how to actually go through the process. I want to say for him, originally, it was his dad that lived there and moving to Texas, and then he was left there. I don't actually think that he had a lease for himself off the get-go. No. Us being so new, we were just like, oh, okay, well, he's making the payments, sometimes late. But looking back at it now, it's like, dude, there were so many red flags, that we didn't see at the time. And unfortunately, like I said, people fall in hard times. I think at the same time, it's very important for us to know it and have that human element in terms of dude, things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Things are going to happen. People fall on bad times, whatever it is. But unfortunately, in his case, it was just taking advantage of that situation, and it wasn't anything that was even close to being repairable.
Yeah. That's crazy, man, because if you think about going through that, right, a lot of people would just want to avoid it altogether. It's like, well, I'm not going to buy an investment property because I have to go through this. I might have to go through this. And it stops a lot of people from actually progressing. And for you guys, it costs you guys some money, right? But you guys learned a lesson, right? If you hadn't gone through that process, you weren't going to learn.
Right.
And then when it comes to the next property, now you know what to do, but it could have stopped you from starting altogether.
Yeah.
Right? And I know there's a ton of people out there right now that haven't started, even with the first home. Well, if I buy a home and what if the foundation is shot? It could be, right? If I buy a home, what if the air conditioning is shot? Yeah, that's kind of what comes with being a homeowner and an investor. So I love how you guys just kind of grab that by the horns and hit it head on. So kind of shifting gears a little bit. Yeah. I know you guys have a passion, and I've been wanting to talk about this. And you got the home dream, right? Talk a little bit about that and what that's all about.
Right. I think you guys being in the business yourselves, there's different type of agents out there, right?
There is.
So I saw that and I was like, that's everything that I don't want to be. I don't want to be someone that's just chasing the dollar, right? Because for me, I'm like, if you actually can take care of your client, the money will come. So I'm like, I wanted that to be a differentiating factor when it came to me as an agent. I'm not here just to sell you a house. I'm really here to take care of you.
Yeah.
And when I take care of you, I know it's going to take care of my family, sort of thing. So we're brainstorming. We're like, hey, like, how do we kind of like translate this into giving back to the community? Because I think that's what a lot of agents, they fail to do. They're always just like, some agents are just really selfish, and that's the nature of the game.
Yeah.
They get into the business for the wrong reason. I never got into real estate because I knew how much money we can make. I honestly didn't know. I didn't. It's just more like, hey, now I could give back and provide. And so we're like, okay, if we're getting, we should always also be giving back.
Yeah.
So not only to my clients throughout the year and like maybe a nice little closing gift, but it's like with nonprofits and doing that, like Baja Bound. We go to Mexico and we build houses.
I love that.
So that's one thing that we're super passionate about, and also humbles us. Because if you're in a state where you're always, getting, and it's always flashy, sometimes it can get to your head. Not us, thankfully, but with some people that does happen. So we like to do those trips, and we like to give back because it humbles us. You realize that, like, hey, there's so many other problems in this world that you're not even aware of unless you expose yourself to that stuff, So, and you can touch on, different things. But I think for me, that was the biggest thing. Like, I came from an okay family. Like, I was good. We're middle class. I never had anything that was like super expensive and things like that. But sometimes I can tell that we need a little bit of help. And I wish at times that someone would have come and, done something nice here and there for us.
Yeah.
So I think like growing up on that foundation, that's what I want to provide to other people.
Good.
Yeah, and she touched on it, but I would say it's a platform. At least Home Dream is a platform for people to be able to gather information and really be educated on the overall home buying process and its perks over the long run. And that comes, and to me, what I see is Home Dream being just a hub of information that allows people to eventually pull the trigger on whatever it is, whether it's their first house, whether it's an investment property, whether it's, syndication, whatever it is they have those options there. And like she touched on, is giving back is huge. For us, it's absolutely huge. Me being on the benefiting end when I was smaller, I know how much of an impact it could have. And I know some of these kids, all they need is a chance. They just need a fighting chance, So for us, that's huge. So with every transaction that we do, is a portion of profits go back to the charity of the client's choice.
Really?
So after every transaction, whether it's buying, selling, is we always, call them afterwards, obviously congratulate them, we do all that good stuff, and then ask what charity they would like us to donate to. And it's awesome because, we've donated to dozens of places now, American Cancer Society,
the ALS Foundation. There's another couple.
Yeah, so we have just a list of them afterwards, and it's awesome. It just allows us to give back in just a different way. And to me, touching back on the education part, is being able to distribute that information as much as we can for the families that actually need it.
Right.
A lot of these families is, maybe their parents were homeowners. They either passed down the house or they gave them the information. But to a lot of us, at least where we grew up, is you're not getting that. You know what I mean? It's if everything you've ever seen growing up is, hey, you're renting, you're working, you're renting. You're working, you're renting, you have Saturday and Sunday off, you're working, you're renting, you know what I mean? That's all you know. So for us, that's huge, is being able to distribute that information to people that either don't have it or don't even think it's a possibility for them. Because for us, everything that we talk about in terms of, hey, it can be done, you could start off saving, like, dude, when we first started dating, we were as broke as can be. You know what I mean? You could start off saving.
I mean, like 2,000 a month. Like, literally.
You know what I mean? I was working for an ambulance company making, probably less than that. So to us, it's, hey, if we could do it, you can do it too. And we know that because we've done it. We're nothing special. We don't consider ourselves to be anything, out of the ordinary. We're just people that have just gone for it and haven't looked back.
Yeah, I love that, because all it does, sometimes it just takes a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, who do I go to?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, who can I contact just to find out? And we know, I'm Hispanic, and it's kind of like that machismo a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, well, no, this is how I'm going to do it. And to have that central hub for somebody to go to is amazing, right? Because same thing. I mean, I know I told you guys before, we grew up super poor.
Yeah.
Right? We're Section 8, we're welfare, we're renters. Like, I remember our first house when we had a ton of cockroaches. Like, it's embarrassing to say, but that's what we had because that's all we knew.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of these families, that's all they know.
Yeah.
Right. So now for me, it's like, okay, well, for you guys, it stops with me. Right.
Right.
I always say that it stops with me. I'm going to be the last person in my family that's going to be a renter. So now I'm going to give them all the information that I can get so they could be homeowners as well. And they're starting to do that now, right?
Yeah.
So I love that you guys are doing that, and you guys are doing it with such a passion because, I mean, I'm kind of looking at what we have going on. It's like, oh man, we're not giving to any charities just besides the church.
It starts today. No, honestly,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm so big about goal planning. Like
Yeah.
I tell people on social media, my clients, like, hey, you might not think you're ready, but most of the time you are more ready than you think, you
Yeah.
know? And if you're not, there's programs out there's something that can be done that will get you ready and, you know, let you get prepared. So I'm like, let me just have that conversation with you. So if you're not ready today, you'll be ready in 6 months. Because if you don't know where to start, you're not going to start.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes you don't even know what you have to sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not even a sacrifice. It's more like an investment in yourself,
Yeah.
right? An investment to your family.
Yeah.
So that's why I think like, hey, it's like right now, I'm like, the house that we're in right now is beautiful, but I'm like, we don't see ourselves there for very long because we are still climbing up that ladder.
I love that.
And we know we're just like, okay, like once rates drop, we're going to refinance this, we're going to rent it out, and we're going to keep on moving up.
Yeah.
Really? That's
yes.
the plan.
That's
Yeah,
the plan.
and honestly, is we're an open book, you know, as to anyone that wants to, you know, find out information, wants to ask questions, they could just ask us. You know, we don't claim to have it all figured out. I don't claim
Not at
to live in a mansion. Like that's not. I'm not fake like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is I'm gonna give it to you how it is. But I want to touch back on a point that you hit, and I honestly feel like this is something that hurt me, if anything, in the earlier stages, is talking about that machismo and wanting to
Yeah.
do things yourself. I feel like if there's anything that someone wants to either learn, whether it's buying a house, whether it's investing, whatever it is, it's always important to reach out to someone, right? So for someone that's eventually looking to buy a house, it's, hey, reach out to a realtor. For someone that's looking to invest, reach out to an investor. For someone that's, you know, a brand new real estate agent, is reach out to a real estate agent. Because for me, I know initially it was like, all right, I'm going to do this all on my own, right? I'm going to do the investing thing on my own. I didn't talk to anyone. I would just figure it out myself. And like I said, I honestly think it hurt me, right? Because I used to think of networking or talking to people as just like kissing ass, you know? And I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna do that, you know? And that's not what it is at all, right?
100%.
Networking, talking to the right people just puts you in that right mind frame and allows you to make the right decision in the long run.
Yeah.
You know, and it cuts out years worth of work. Like we'd probably be even further if I had just kind of either swallowed my pride or just gone and asked for help. Because it's huge. And like I said, it cuts out years. And not only that, but then, dude, a lot of these people that you talk to, a lot of these people that are established in real estate, you know, that are established in whatever, like, dude, they're more than willing to help you.
They are.
You know, they're more than willing to go out for coffee or to sit down. You know, I know we've gone out for coffee before and give you absolutely everything that they have.
I also think in your defense, we didn't have anyone to turn to, though, to be like, hey, what can we do? Actually, he started learning about investments off of Bigger Pockets.
Really?
And so, like, I think that's where, like, for me, I kind of want to be like a Bigger Pockets on a smaller level, like Home Dream, you know, where it's actually like, we're going to get back to you sort of thing until we grow to that point. But that's how he started learning about investments. And I think that's what he was just listening to podcasts, reading books. And he's like, we're doing it. I'm like, okay, we're doing it.
Yeah. And that's something that's, you know, and once again, I know we talked about this in the past, is not having information or not having all of the information and be able to, you know, take that leap is huge. Like that has helped us out more than anything, you know, it's just getting there and figuring it out along the way.
And it's not that you're not scared. Like I was scared, you know, like, okay, well, this can go wrong and this can go wrong and all the other things that can go wrong. But it's like, okay, well, let's remove that doubt for a little bit and then see the possibilities that there could be. And I think that's a problem with a lot of like first-time home buyers, right? They want that instant gratification. Like, okay, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom at $600 in Whittier.
I'm curious on you guys' decision-making process because like you said, you know, you're still scared whether you're writing that offer for the next investment property or the next personal home, or whether you're analyzing, hey, is it a good time to refinance? What is the decision-making process that you guys have to decide, hey, this is the move we're going to make, or hey, let's pass on this one, this isn't the right one?
So that's a really good question. For us at this point is numbers.
Okay.
It's literally just running the numbers and making sure that a deal makes sense, you know, and I think for us, it's something that we've done continuously now, so it comes a little bit easier. But I would say for someone that's looking to get into, you know, buying their first house, real estate investing, it's just sitting down with someone that knows how to do it and then just having them run the numbers for you. You know, and I think that's the beauty of having a real estate agent that's really really on your side is,
Or that's done it before.
or that's done it a million times, is they get to run those numbers for you and let you know where they're at, right? Not only that, but then, back that up or pair that up with, a good loan officer is you can't lose as a first-time home buyer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, from like a wife perspective, I honestly just take his lead. So it's as simple as that. He's
Yeah.
like, let's do it. I'm like, all right. Because I know, I'm like, you got us.
Good. I love
Right?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got us, right? So he's like, let's do it. I'm like, okay, we're going to do it. Like the duplex that we have in Whittier, we weren't even pre-approved. We went to go see it. And he's like, write the offer. I'm like, babe, we're not even pre-approved. He's like, write it. I'm like, okay. Wrote it, got accepted the next day. And I'm like, we're not pre-approved.
How do we pay for this?
He's like, we'll figure it out. We got pre-approved like the next day, closed escrow.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was probably the scariest one because
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? But
No.
the thing with him is that he has vision, right? So with that piece of property that we have, it's a duplex on a huge piece of land that eventually we could subdivide and
Yeah.
sell off as two different properties. So that would be, if we ever decided to do that in the future. But that's
awesome.
my decision-making process. It's like, okay, like, I trust you. I will figure it out. And if it doesn't, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
and I love that because we had the same experience with the house that we just bought in Ontario, right? We're still remodeling it. We're about, I don't know, 3 weeks out from actually moving in or
How
something.
exciting.
And-
Congratulations again.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And, the thing with that home is we kind of just took the leap of faith. Almost similar story to you guys. It needed a lot of work. They were going to get, not undercut by an investor, but the investor was offering them a lot lower. And we're like, hey, I'll give you X amount more. I'll take it. And, we'll fix it, whatever. And she was like, she loved it. She's like, yes, I'll do it. Right. But going into that, we got into escrow. My wife hadn't even seen the home.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So she hadn't seen the home and we're in escrow. And I didn't take her until like the inspection, right? Until we did the inspection, I was like, all right, let's go check it out. We did it. But what does that look like? Because I know, and I love that you said that you just kind of follow his lead at the end of the day, right? Like he's your husband and he's not going to like put you in a bad situation, right?
Yeah.
But right now we live in a world, right, where it's like, we got the feminist movement and all that, and boss ladies, and that's fine. But at the same time, like you seem to play your role really well, and he does his. What does that look like for you guys? Because that can be kind of tough, where you're like, oh, I'm the realtor, but he's the one making the decision, and vice versa, right? Like, what does that look like for you guys?
I've never had that sort of mindset. Like
Yeah.
I've never had, I don't want to call it ego, but I know my place and I know his place sort of thing. And that's not true for every household.
Yeah.
And that's totally okay. But I think that's true for ours, where it's like, okay, I know that you would never do anything for our family that's going to like steer us off the wrong path. So I'm like, okay, like I know my place. Like he can never be a mom like I can,
Yeah.
So I just have
100%.
different roles. He has different roles. And I think that's just the kind of thing, like we grew up pretty similar. So those are just the things that have been embedded into me as growing up. And I think same with you, kind of seeing that growing up.
Yeah,
So-
and I would say on my end, it's realizing that if you're the man of the house, you are the man of the house. You
Yeah.
get things done. You know what I mean? Whether that's reaching out to the right person, whether that's working overtime to accomplish the goal of home ownership, whether that's looking for a second job, whatever it is you have to get the job done in order to be able to provide for your family, for your kids. And that's how I see it, is we have two little ones. I have a 7-year-old daughter and then a 4-year-old boy. So I see it as, dude, I'm going to do absolutely everything within my power to set them up to where they're in a good place, not only now, but in the future.
Yeah. I think it comes to like when I didn't lose my job, but when I left being at the DA's office, right? How I was like, I felt like everything was stripped from me. Well, because you learn to build your confidence off of external things.
Yeah.
And so like with me, that was a huge turning point because I learned to build my confidence from internal things, from internal approval. I didn't need approval from you or you because I was fine being who I am at the end of the day. So that's why I say strip everything away from me, strip being a realtor away from me. As long as I could be a mom to my kids, I'm fine. As long as I could provide for them, I'm fine. So I think that just knowing that, like nothing could ever be stripped away from me because I have all that I have,
Yeah.
with them, with him, sort of thing. So.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because, same thing with my wife. Like, my wife, she stays home with the boys, right? And she has a hard job.
Absolutely.
I got the easy job. I
Yeah.
gotta come here and make
Absolutely.
video with you guys. You know, I'm doing this and that. You know, and yeah, we take care of business like you said, right? And we're kind of like in a situation, right, where like we've gone so far to one side of like, hey, it should be equal 50-50. It's never 50-50, right? When we talk about husband and wife, and I'm glad we're getting into this because I think it has to be said. It's never 50-50. It's 100 and 100,
Oh yeah.
right? And that's how we play our roles, right? Like for me, my wife, I love my wife, but she shows me a certain amount of respect. And it's not like, oh, woman, you gotta respect me. It's not like that, right? It's not. That's not gonna work, right? Like for us,
Right.
yeah. What'd you say? I know I always mess around with Luke, and I'm like, women should only speak when spoken to, right, Luke? I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding, right? But like that's not how we talk to women, right?
Oh, yeah.
We show them the love, and it's not like we're like putting them on a pedestal, but I'm gonna do whatever it takes to take care of my wife and my kids,
Right.
And first, for me, first is Jesus, right? Next is my wife, and then my kids.
Right.
So even with my kids, right? If my son's getting out of hand with my wife, I'm letting him know, hey, don't talk to my wife like that. It's not, don't talk to your mom. Don't talk to my wife like that. That's my wife.
Yeah.
Right. And we have that, right? And I think my wife appreciates it. And same thing, if I got to tell my son something, right? And he's getting out of line and my wife's trying to come in and like, oh, what's going on? And I'm like, hey, let me handle it. And she does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how we are. So I know we're probably going off on a little tangent there.
Well,
right?
no, I
Yeah,
think it's
well-
important because when you're in business with, I know that you and your wife do a lot of stuff on the real estate side and,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And you have to respect each other's roles, right? So, like, I respect when he's, gone throughout the week being a fireman. Like, I respect that. I'm never complaining, you left me home with the kids all day and I was so tired and I had to do this. And I'm like, no, like, that's my job. Like, I'll take care of that. And you go take care of that. So I think it's just respecting each other. And that's huge when you go into business with each other because it can get difficult sometimes, right?
I have that question down on my notes, by the way, guys.
But I think the trust that you guys have for each other is important. Like when you're gone and you're at the you're at the station doing what you got to do, you trust that she's taking care of what she has.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're doing what you have to do,
Absolutely.
you're trusting that this is the right deal for us or he's making the best decision. It's the independent trust that you guys have for each other that makes it work. Because if you didn't trust him, it wouldn't work. And if
No.
you didn't trust her, it wouldn't work.
Right.
So you have to have that mutual beneficial trust and
love
respect for each other to be able to make that work. And I love that you guys have that. That's
Yeah.
super important, especially in business where you're at home together, but now you're in, you're making money together. Now you're in business together to where, you're spending more time together, different decisions can clash. How do you guys handle or are there disagreements in the business or how do you guys handle when those situations come up?
Yeah. So, and I'll touch on your point in just a little bit, but I would say, honestly, the biggest hack if you want to get ahead in business is choosing the right woman, right? For men, obviously, for ladies, it's choosing the right man. But honestly, it really is choosing the right partner because it goes across so much in terms of what you're going to be doing, right? In terms of business, family, how you take care of things is going to be huge as a couple. So that's huge. In terms of business, I would say for us and what's worked out is having parameters, if you will. Like I know for myself is I try to get as much as I possibly can done while the kids are in school, right? That way when they get home it's family time and that is our family time, right? Sometimes there might be a little bit of bleed over, but honestly, we try and stick to that as much as we possibly can to make sure that works for us. Because ultimately, honestly, I think that working together has, if anything, made us closer, and I think that's either through the constant communication or just being able to see what the other person kind of does on a day-to-day basis is you gravitate towards like, hey, I know everything that they did today. I know they had a long day, whatever it may be. So I think it's been awesome for us and just being able to work with each other. But yeah, ultimately it's just having those parameters and having family life be family life and then business be business.
What about disagreements? I feel like we don't really. Do we have to? I mean, we do. Because I want to touch on that part. Yeah. So we have disagreements.
I know. That was a politician answer.
I
Yeah.
Good job, Jesus. Good job, bro.
Yeah. No, I do feel like if we have a disagreement, we'll hear each other out, and then we'll like really truly sleep on it. Like, okay, like which way? Because then sometimes ego does get in the way, right? Like, hey, sometimes I'm like I should be doing this on social media because I've been in it longer, sort of thing. But then I'm like, we need a fresh look and a fresh start. So I think it's just really conversing with each other. And we don't go like behind each other's back and do something that we both don't agree on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's big.
You
Yeah,
guys have a
just
shared
like-
mission, you know, like
Right.
you want to get to the same place. So it's just, hey, how do we get there the best way?
Right. And it's normal that like conversations come up.
Yeah, that's good.
So.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes for my wife, because she's not like really part of the business.
Yeah.
Like she takes care of home, I take care of the business. And one of my biggest things is like, I don't want to like scare her because like we got money coming in, but there's also a lot of money coming out,
Oh,
and we
yeah.
know that,
Yeah.
right? Like, so for me, it's like, hey, as long as stuff I get, like, for me, it's like, hey, don't ask me too many questions, right? It's like, as long as there's money in the bank account, you guys have a roof over your head, you're being fed. Like, that's my approach. Like, let me take care of what I take care of, and you take care of what you take care of,
My
right?
strategy for that, really quick, is
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, okay, we share bank accounts across the board.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, same here, same here.
So I'm like, whatever is mine is yours too, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but I'm not gonna. He pays all the bills. I don't even look at them because I'm like, I don't want to see.
Yeah, and I don't like for my wife. Like it's unneeded stress to know how much money
Oh
probably
yeah,
coming out.
that's all him.
Yeah, and then it's like as long as the bank account keeps going up a little bit and
Yeah.
going up more than it's coming out for her, like she's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And she does trust me with that, right? Question on that, right? Because now you guys work together and you guys are probably talking about business all the time.
Yeah.
And like me, I love to talk about business all the time. Like I went out with my friends from high school, hadn't gone out with them for like 3 or 4 years. And I told these guys, like, hey guys, please pray for me. I don't want to talk about business. Like, I want to just talk about them. Because for me, I could easily be like, we're doing this and we're doing that and
Yeah.
we're doing
Yeah.
this. And it's for a lot of people, they're like, bro, shut up. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because they're not living the same life, right?
Right.
But you guys are. So do you guys ever turn it off? Like, I know you talked about, business, and then home is home. But for me, it would be really hard to be like, all right, babe, well, there's this client, like, do you
Yeah.
guys have like a certain routine or somehow do you guys be like, all right, no more talking about business. We're just gonna talk about life. Does that work for you guys? You guys have something like that?
I mean, I think there's a lot of bleed over in that aspect of things.
Yeah.
Like when the kids are home, it's where we put our computers away, our phones away, because we need to have that time with them. But when it's like conversation, it does come up because you're on the topic so much throughout the day.
Yeah.
It does definitely bleed over, I think.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's natural. You
Yeah.
know? Not only that, but I feel like we have so much going on, with, the kids. And like I said, I still work a regular schedule. So I work a 48-96 schedule. I work for 2 days and I'm off for 4 days, which equates to a 56-hour work week. You know what I mean? So that's my regular job. Like after this, I'm going to my job.
He literally has work after the
Yeah,
podcast.
really?
I'm going at 5:30.
Are we still good on time then?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
so good. But I still have a whole nother life, if you will. You know what I
Right.
mean? At the fire department. So obviously, we converse about that, and that's huge. I mean, and that for me, and you hit it right on the head earlier, is that if anything is my kind of escape or just my reset, if you will. At a fire station, it's all guys that work there. We have an awesome time. The guys that I work with are amazing. And the station that I'm at is the busier station in the city. So we're constantly busy. I don't even have time really to think about, anything other than being there. Not only that, but then I have a supervisory role. So I'm the captain for the crew.
Nice, man.
So yeah, thank you. So like I said, my thing, and I really do split that line. I have a hard line with that, is when I am at work, when I'm at the fire station, I'm about the guys. I'm about making sure that they're taken care of.
Yeah.
And I'm about making sure that we're able to provide a service for the residents, And then when I leave, I'm home, and it's all real estate stuff. So to me, it's freaking awesome. Like I'm super blessed to be able to have an awesome setup.
That's dope, man.
I love that. Well, now, I mean, Jesus talking about that you have another full-time job. I'm curious on you guys' time management, like getting things done, prioritizing schedules with kids, with family, with work, with business. What does that look like for the both of you?
Yeah, so I know for myself, it's time blocking. So it's something that I've been practicing now for about a year. And it's essentially just creating time blocks throughout the day, right? And oftentimes when you spend time doing something, it's not necessarily the most productive, if you will, right? We're creatures to where we naturally want to be busy, and we associate being busy with being productive.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the case. So now when I'm off, I have a whole routine, right? Is I'm up by 5. At 5:10, I'm on the treadmill. I walk for 10 minutes to just wake me up. 5:20 to 5:40, I read. I'm at the gym by 6, I'm back home by 7. You know what I mean? Like I have this whole thing from 7 to 8. I'm helping with the kids, packing lunches, taking them to school. I'm back by 9:30. You know what I mean? So it goes on and on. So I think for me, that has been just beneficial because it cut out a lot of the, hey, I'm going to work on this. And we all know how that goes is you're on your phone, you're, distracted, especially me, dude. I get distracted easily. So I need something that's going to, easily. So I need something that's going to keep me, in line. And sometimes, dude, 30 minutes of really putting your focus on something is a lot more beneficial than 3 hours of you just either typing away or being on the computer or just wasting time. So for me, that has worked.
And we have
3 hours.
We have a shared schedule on our phone. So like everything important goes on our shared calendar. So I know what he's doing for the day. He knows what I'm doing for the day. And a lot of that stuff that we get done is when the kids are at school. So we have a good 5-6 hours probably.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I don't go into the office. I stay home when I work. So when I go to the office, people talk to me. I'm like, I love you.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to talk. Like,
We do that.
Oh my gosh, how'd you do that video? It's so
yes.
great.
Oh, can I book an appointment with you? I want to learn about this and this. I'm like, yes, but can you text me later? Like I have stuff to do right now because I know how precious my time is because I had to get my kid at 2:30. So I'm like, I need to get all this stuff done. But I can attest to what he's doing because he's never been a morning person. And I would resent a little bit because I'm like, hey, I'm up by 5. I'm cleaning, I'm making lunches, I'm doing all this stuff. I have a whole life before you even wake up and you're waking up at 8, So I'm like, that's really annoying. And he stepped it up this year. Not even this year, a couple months. He's been waking up before I even wake up to do his stuff, go to the gym. So that way he's mentally set up here before he gives to us, So I can see that huge difference in what he's been doing. Because I'm like, wow, it makes my life a lot easier because I don't feel like I'm the only one putting in the work.
And it just goes back to the sacrifice. You know what I mean? The sacrifice, the putting in the work, putting in the time. It looks different for everyone, but if you are, the person that is running that household, if you will, right, whether male or female, is you're going to have to do things in order to get it done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, it was a total just shift change because I've never been a morning person.
Never.
Never.
I was going to ask you that too.
Dude, I've never been a morning person. 8 o'clock, I'd be rolling out of bed, 7:30, 8. If I could, dude, I'd probably sleep in all day, But to me, a mind change lately too has been Hormozy's, I don't know if you've heard, control the controllables.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So for me, so for me, it's dude, I'll lay out my sweatpants, my sweatshirt, dude, my socks are ready to go, my shoes. My hat, so dude, I'll just at 5 o'clock I'll kind of roll over and then I'll start putting it on. And once you do that, then it's game over. You're gonna be able to accomplish whatever it is that you have set.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because I always think about the people who are actually up at that time. It's do they like being up at that time? Are they are they just really disciplined? Because I did it for a long time.
Yeah.
And now I don't enjoy it. Before I would enjoy it. I was the guy. I did 170 days of waking up before 4 a.m. Straight. And that was and I would post it every day on social media for accountability, right? That was my form of accountability.
Yeah.
But now I'm geez, I woke up at 8:15 this morning. I don't know if I could do that again. So I was just wondering what does it take to actually do that? And then, but you found it, right? It's hey, I'm going to help out. I'm going to get ready. My wife needs me to be ready at a certain time because this is what works for us now. And the life's just going to be easier.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think
Not
for
only that,
moms, really quick, I think for us, house gets so chaotic. And the morning is the only time that I have time to not have kids in my ear all day. I love them, but it's a lot, because it's just overwhelming sometimes. You feel overstimulated. So I'm okay, at least I have an hour to read my book and just hang out for my mental state.
You need it. Yeah. Sometimes I look at my wife, I'm can you just go hang out with a friend or something? Because I'm sure you need it.
Yeah.
When my wife asks me anytime, hey, I'm going to go out with this person, she doesn't do it often. And I'm please, yes, you got to go because it could be a lot. So.
Yeah, and going back to the waking up early thing, for me, and it's something that kind of stuck with me. It's kind of cheesy, kind of not, but I saw something online that said, hey, remember when you were a little kid and you either had a field trip lined up, and you guys might have already seen this, but I had a field trip lined up. You were going over your cousin's house. You were doing something that next day.
Disneyland.
Right? Disneyland, anything, right?
Or not spare from
You're
now.
doing anything. Yeah, exactly. So you were doing something big that day is how you would wake up that next day and you'd just be so excited to get it done and to get the day started and to get going.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that for me, that has been huge because that for me now is home dream. You know what I mean? Is I'm so focused on building it to what I know it could be, is that I have that passion. Is the moment I hit the floor is I'm ready to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that has been huge for me.
Yeah, I love that because that's how I feel every day. Like, I'm just excited to wake up. I don't know what it feels like not being excited to wake up for work, right? Like, I don't know what that feels like. Before, I was like, okay, I got to go clock in. I'm exchanging my time for money. But now it's like we're on a mission,
Yeah.
right? We have this, for
Yeah.
me, it's building the team,
Right.
right? I know we have Noeli and Yarisa in here, and that's my passion, right? Is not so much the consumer anymore, but for me, it's like, how can I help these agents succeed? Because I've seen what it's done for my life,
Right.
right? It's helped me. Like, we don't have to worry about where our next meal is coming from.
Right.
We don't have to worry about if we're going to pay for our bills. And I want the same for the agents on my team or the people around us, right? And so I can totally relate to just waking up and being on fire for what you're doing in life. And I feel like a lot of people are missing that. And I know I've asked you before, because a lot of people they might have a passion for something else, but they're working a full-time job. And I know I've asked you, it's like, hey, would you ever leave your full-time job? So would you?
No.
No?
But yours is different.
Yeah, so I'll be honest. Like I said, I think I feel, super strong, or I'll reword that. So my job is a little bit unique, in terms of, not only what I do, but what I've done in order to get there. I know that for me, when I first got hired, being hired at the fire department is as if I hit the lottery, because we come from a similar background.
Yeah.
And you know what it would mean for someone like us to be hired at the fire department,
Yeah.
You touched on it earlier, right? But coming from, low income, right? Section 8, roaches, on you, right? Waking up, turning on the lights and seeing just roaches scatter, like that's where I come from,
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, is when I was first, getting into where I'm at now, like I would be like ashamed of that. You know what I mean? Is I'd be ashamed of that. I'd be like, damn, like I wish I could have had this, and that when I was smaller. But now everything, and I would say this is for viewers as well, is usually things that you think hurt you are actually catalysts for launching you even further.
Yeah.
Right? Because for us, not having those things earlier on made us want to provide for our family. You know what I mean? So whatever weakness you think you have, or whatever, you're not maybe super proud of, your past, whatever it is, use that as a catalyst to just take you into a whole nother level. And I know that's something that we've done and something that we're still, doing.
Yeah.
But getting back to the fire department question, like I said, it's just, I'm super appreciative of having that profession, you know. Not only that, but then at least while my kids are younger, is I want them to see that. I want them to know that we're big on giving back, right? Whether that's giving back monetarily or whether that's giving back to the community, that's super important for me. So, who knows? Maybe when I'm older, maybe retire early is I could see that.
That's super cool.
But I would say not anytime soon, at least for myself.
Good.
And honestly, our fire family supports us like 100% when we're
Yeah.
doing a real estate. So it makes it fun,
Yeah,
you
I love
know?
that.
They're like, hey, we're at a Christmas party the other day. Like, hey, home dream this, home dream that. And I'm like, someone was wearing a home dream shirt.
Oh, that's super
Yeah.
cool.
and
that's
so
super
we
cool.
love them so much. They're like our second family.
Yeah.
You guys, Jaslene, you being an agent more so, how a lot of agents are in the mindset of, I'm going to help this family commission check, and that's basically what they live on.
Right.
How can an agent switch from the mindset of, this is what I do, this is my job, basically I help families buy homes, into, hey, I'm going to buy this for myself, I want to become an investor. How do they switch that mindset? And if they want to buy that first deal or so, what does that look like? What should they be doing? What should they be looking out for?
Right. Well, first off, I would say like take the advice you're giving to your clients. A lot of agents aren't homeowners, and so it's like if that's where the real wealth is built. It's not built off a couple $1,000 commission check, because you know how fast that can go. Even with advertising, with mileage, all that stuff. Taxes. Oh yeah, it flies off the shelf. I mean, super fast. So I think it's more like, hey, where is the real wealth, and where is that coming from? It's not coming from being an agent. Yes, a lot of money could be made there, right? But it's the real wealth is buying the properties. So instead of, maybe having like 50, 60,000 in our little bank, we have lots of equity that we can pull from at any time. Yeah. So it's like making that distinction, and you have to be ready to be a homeowner too, right? And maybe it's like, okay, you're not ready right now as an agent, but take your own advice and goal plan. Because, we're 1099, they have to get the average over the past 2 years, all that stuff. So it's like, okay, I know that I aspire to be a homeowner one day, so let me start today. And it just takes that one deal. Like, there's been so many times where I'm searching for my clients, and I'm like, actually, I want this house. And I'll text them, like, hey, we need to buy this house. Because
Good.
So I think it's more like being open-minded. Like, if you're ready and you're looking for a client, also look for yourself. Because it could be a total life changer for an agent, But it's more trying to figure out what is the real wealth and how does that accumulate over time. It's not through commissions, it's through equity.
Yeah, no, I believe that. And I felt it for a long time, right, when it comes to like telling people they need to buy a home, and then I wasn't a homeowner.
Right.
And I did feel it. And if you're an agent right now and you haven't bought a home, it's okay.
Right.
But like Jaslene said, just start planning for it. Like you can't be giving this advice and then like it's almost like you have empty promises, right?
Right.
It's like, well, why don't you do it? Well, because I listen to Grant Cardone. It's like, no, shut up. Grant Cardone bought his first home too, right? Like he bought a first home and then he turned that into multiple, thousands of units now, and that's how he started.
Right.
So if you're listening to Grant Cardone and to not buy your primary home because you want to invest your money and all that, I think that's a lie.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think that's false because he started that way, and we need to do the same.
Right.
So
Yeah. And
Yeah,
sometimes it's
and
hard.
then if you really break
Yeah.
down what he's saying, hey, run a business, and that business is having rentals.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So like you hit it right on the head. It is, hey, you're gonna have to start off somewhere and then eventually go from there. And if your overall thing is, hey, I'm a working professional, I don't want to settle down in a certain city, I don't want to do this or do that. I'm single or only have a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. I'm going to travel a lot, then yeah, maybe, it's buying investment properties and not necessarily your own primary. Then that's obviously a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for most people, the wealth builder is going to be real estate.
Right. And agents have the upper hand. Like, we can use our commission check to pay for closing costs. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, like, just lowers say our out-of-pocket's $50,000, and we have a $15,000 commission check. Use that and pay down your closing costs. So now you're coming in less out-of-pocket to buy the home, which not a lot of people have the upper hand with that.
you're absolutely
Only the
right.
agents do,
Or there's
So-
deals coming right to you.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Opportunities.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
look for it and you're ready for it. It will come. That's how it came for us.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah.
putting yourself around the right people, it's really looking
love
back
that.
at the flips that we've done, looking back at some of the properties that we've bought. It's been through people that we know, it's been through people, referrals. And it really, I think for us, it was huge is actually tallying them up and being like, okay, we did that flip. We did a crazy flip in Santa Ana last year. The numbers are astronomical, but it came from one of our clients. You know what I mean? And it's just having that interaction that made it possible.
Right. Kind of
Yeah.
touching on that. So the house that we live in right now, an old contractor friend is like, hey, I drove by this house. I went to go look at it. Probably needs like 50,000 repairs. Like, we can flip it, right? And we're like, okay. Last minute, he pulls out, and it was a public auction for a probate. And we told each other, no, we're still gonna go. Like, we had to do a $10,000 cashier check to even bid on the property. So I got the check the day before. I'm like, we're still going. So we go, we start bidding on the house. We're like, it's a really nice area of Whittier, right? So I'm like, there's gonna be like 15 people, 20 people there. It was only like 4 people. Like, as if it was meant to be. And like, we start bidding, and like, this one guy keeps going up 5,000. I'm like, babe, go up 5,000. Keep going up. And so he does. Given I've never seen the inside of the house, only video
Oh,
at
wow.
that point, like your wife, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, keep going. So at that point, it's like a competition. We went to go look at it. We ended up getting the house for $850.
Yeah.
$850. And we're like, you know what? We can flip it and make a couple thousand, but is it worth it? Like, let's just fix it up for ourselves. And we kept it.
That's awesome.
Put money into it. Now it's like worth like 1.2.
Wow.
But it's
When are we having
because-
dinner at $1.2 million home? Let's go. Just kidding.
But it's because of that old contract. We don't even talk to him anymore.
Oh, wow.
But like, just being in communication with that guy, him pulling out, we said end up going, and
Yeah, and
Now
and
we're there.
ultimately, and I know for me, that's something I want to say is the deals are out there.
They're out
You know,
there.
it's for most people is they just have to reach out to an agent and they'll guide them to the deals.
Yeah.
So even now, is people might look at our example and be like, man, they got their first house for a killer price. They turned it around, live and flip, and they made X amount off of it. And that might sound like, oh, that's a one-off thing. dude, I probably get 15 to 20 deals a day, you know, emails just under market value homes that are selling now from, what is it, Fair Trade?
Fair trade.
So it's a company, and they essentially
They're a
find
wholesaler, yeah.
wholesale deals. You know what I mean? So the deals are out there for most people. It's just, it's a matter of fact if people want to take advantage of those deals and actually reach out to someone, you know, because we're all super good at just finding excuses as to why we don't
Oh, yeah, that's
or
the
can't
biggest
do
thing.
something, you know, is like, oh no, I got this thing coming up. Maybe, you know, the price is going to be too much.
The
So
market's
you don't
gonna crash.
know. The market's going to crash. Dude, and I want to say something about that, right? Is we started real estate investing where it was not the right market to buy in.
We always
started
hear
Home
that.
Dream. We started Home Dream when it was not the right market to start a real estate company in. And dude, it's never going to be the perfect time, right? And take it from us. Even when we sold our house, our first house, we ended up selling, and we were trying to time the market in terms of when we could get the most.
The worst
right?
idea.
Dude, it's a worst idea. Do not try to time the market. If the numbers make sense for you, pull the trigger.
Yeah.
You know, because we ended up selling, and we're like, oh, dude, we ended up, you know, selling that house for $550, whatever it was. Dude, that house now is worth,
At
you know,
least, like
$750.
$770.
You know what I mean? So you look at it, and obviously
sad.
we ended up, investing the monny somewhere else, and the return has been good. But it's just, you just don't know.
You
Not
don't,
only that,
yeah.
but then think about the person that got it. You know, at the time we're like, dude, this person went 30 grand over, you know, and you're talking, you know, 10 years ago, you know, so everything was diminished in terms of number, but we're like, dude, this person went in 30,000 above our ask. That's crazy. Just, you know, pull the trigger and then
Before it
accept
came the norm, right?
Yeah, just accept it, you know, and we're super just, you know, stoked about it. And then now it's worth like $750. He's probably looking at us and being like, dude, can you believe they let
It's
this
funny
thing
though,
go?
because we're still
Yeah.
we're kind of like not friends with them, but like acquaintances. Like I saw her son at jiu-jitsu with our son, so like, I was talking to her. We went like trick or treating in the neighborhood the last year for Halloween, and we
That's
were
super cool.
talking. And it's kind of cool because it's a young family. Like they transformed the backyard. So I'm like, okay, fine, you can have the $200,000.
Yeah, right.
I guess.
You could take it.
Yeah,
Take
not taking action, not taking action, especially here in Southern California, will cost you money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, there are people that are just ready to go, right? Whether it's a house, you know, real estate investing, whether it's whatever, just inaction will cost you a lot of money. And I think that's, you know, touching back on what we were talking about, has helped us out the most. It's just, hey, pull the trigger. Let's get this done.
And I think that's so important with Home Dream too, because like we could tell our stories to our clients, and it's like, hey, we weren't ready,
Yeah.
but look where it has gotten us, you know, and that's what people are looking for. And I'm so proud of my clients because they actually like take that advice. I'm like, just trust me as your agent. You have to trust me. I will not let you down, you know. I'm like, my clients text me like years after I closed on their house, you know, asking questions. They're like, oh, I didn't think you're going to respond back. I'm like, this is like a marriage. I will always be here
right?
for you.
Yeah. Just cause I got paid already
I know,
doesn't
like,
mean that we
I
can't
am
be
here.
friends. You know, and yeah, we think about that all the time, and obviously the opportunities there, right? Like you guys are saying, if you take enough action, and I think that's one of the biggest points is that you guys have taken action.
Yeah.
Like you guys are just doing it, you're not making excuses. And yeah, I could have had 200K in equity, whatever. But it's like, okay, well, that wasn't part of our plan anymore.
Right.
We moved on. Now we have something else. And I think most people are where they're at because of the inaction. Right? It's like you just got to do more and then figure out. And you're gonna fail. And then you just got to do more and then figure out. And then you're gonna fail.
Right.
And then you got to do more.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just
Yeah,
over and over.
And you could always play, you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Right.
There's a house in La Habra Heights that we're looking to buy for, you know, and
$850.
I did a video on this for $850. Fast forward 5 years, it's worth 1.8. So, and we were looking to buy it. We were the last two. The agent's like, hey, if you buy this, you know, it's yours. Dude, I lost out on $1 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it's all, you know, it's how you look at it. It's all good.
Yeah.
It happened. The past is a past. Keep it moving. You're always going to look back at interest rates, home prices, and be like, man, that could have been so good. I should have done this. I should have done that. Well, guess what? Everyone else could have too.
Yeah.
Honestly, low key though, I'm kind of happy we didn't get that house.
She said it was too dark.
First off, La Habra Heights, super dark.
They have no
Second
streetlights.
off, your nearest neighbor is where? If someone's in the house, I can't scream. You can't. If I scream, you can't hear me. So I'm like, I'm kind of happy.
I'm kind of a loud screamer, so nobody's gonna hear me Well, why'd you look at me like that?
I don't know, man.
He said true.
Yeah. I used to coach football, and I used to always yell. Like, you could hear me from everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, let's close this out, guys. I want to respect your guys' time. Thank you guys for coming on, just
Our
having this
pleasure, man.
conversation
I know,
with
this
us.
is so much fun. We should do
Yeah,
it
this is
again.
really
Yeah,
good.
I
This is
know.
like part 1 of 5.
Yeah, right.
We got more.
I believe it. I believe it, and I know you guys have a ton of value. Where can people find you if they want to just kind of reach out or have questions about what you guys are doing?
Yeah, so my Instagram page. So we have 2 different Instagram pages.
Yeah.
So mine is Jaslene Chavez _ realtor. So there you'll find tips of home buying, home selling, but also a mix of family. And then we also run an at-home dream page on Instagram. Tell them about that.
Yeah, so that's a home dream, and it's essentially what we talked about, just everything real estate. So investing, purchasing, syndication. It is just a hub for information.
Yeah, I love it. And you guys are killing it on video, so keep that going, because we look at your guys' video and I'm like, man, our video sucks, dude. I was talking to Justin today. I was
they
like,
look
bro,
good.
we need higher quality video, man. We got it, but we just do a lot of it, right? So
Yeah. No, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, no, you guys are absolutely.
You know what's
killing
so
it.
funny? You probably don't know this, but I follow you on Instagram for a long time, right? And I had a past client call me, and they're like, yeah, like one of my friends is an escrow with the new build and this, and this.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know like a new build agent. I'll hit him up. I never even said hi to you or anything. I was
Yeah.
just going to text you.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Robert, I know you don't know me, but.
No, and look at us now, right? We went out
Yeah.
for coffee. You guys came to the event.
Yeah.
And I think that's the power of building relationships. Like you guys said, right? Those relationships, getting around the right people. I know if I have a question about investing, I'm going to call you guys because you guys are actually doing it, right? And vice versa. If you guys have any questions, I know that you guys will reach out.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we're like the young bucks in this game right now, I feel
Right.
like.
Yeah, and we talked about it last time, but I think having that time on your side is huge. You know what I mean? Is you look back at Home Dream, as we started Home Dream 4 months ago.
Yeah.
We're a brand new company. You know, obviously she's been doing real estate for a while now. We've been investing for a while, so we have those years of experience. But dude, we're brand new in this thing.
Yeah.
You know, we're brand new and we're ready to take over.
Yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
that's what we think about a lot. It's like, man, we just started the team 2 years ago. We're at 94 transactions right now, looking to hit that 100 mark.
Yeah.
We're praying for it. And it's like, all right, well, next year, how can we hit 500?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm more transaction based, right? So
Right.
kind of like, as far as the consumer side, I don't have too many consumers anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right, 500. If we hit 500 transactions, it's not only changing my life, but it's changing the life of everyone around me, right?
Yeah.
The people on the team, because they're performing and they're producing and they're able to feed their family because of what we're helping them build
Yeah.
here.
It also takes a great leader, though, to like encourage them and put that fire in them, you know, like, hey, I'm going to do this not only for me, but for the team.
Yeah.
So,
And I want them to win.
yeah.
Like, and I get on people. It's like, are you making the contacts? Are you setting the appointments? Are you opening the escrows?
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, I do not care about money.
Right.
Right. Money comes and goes.
Right.
Right. That doesn't drive me.
Yeah.
Right. You guys seen the car I drive.
Right.
Like, as an example, that doesn't drive me. But seeing people produce, seeing Eddie, he has 18 open escrows right now. And he doesn't even need the money either.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and but seeing Justin's 23 years old. He has what, 7 open right now?
I think so,
Awesome.
yeah.
7 open, 23 years old,
Baller.
right? Yeah. We have Ray is so a great example. We have Mr. Real Estate. He has an amazing page. He started with us last November. He had a decent year this year, but he's like recently turned it up, and he already has for 2024. He has set up like a little over 70,000 in commissions already set up.
Yeah.
And we haven't even touched 2024
Right.
yet. So like. And he comes to me, and yeah, I take a split of everything he makes, right? He's
Right.
on my team.
Yeah.
But he comes to me, he's like, man, I'm so grateful. I love being part of this team. You know, I've never made 70,000 in my whole like real estate career. And he's gonna make it in 1 year. So I could imagine him making 250,000 next year if he really does it, right?
Yeah.
That fires me up. So
Yeah.
thank
And
you for
that-
saying that.
Yeah. No, I mean, because I've seen both sides of that, right? Where it's like you have a leader that's not really like behind you, and you have a leader that is behind you. And
Yeah.
it does make a difference in the agent's performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I will say that. Like, as agents, we need that support sometimes. Like, get your butt up and go do the things you said you're going to do.
Yeah. And dude, accountability is everything.
Huge.
You know what I
We're
mean? And
huge
it's
on
hard,
that.
right? We're just geared towards having loose accountability, if you will, or keeping ourselves accountable. It's like, maybe I'll do that, maybe I won't. But when you have that external factor of someone else holding you accountable, it's
Oh,
huge,
yeah.
you know. And I know even for myself is, dude, some people pay for accountability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I
some
do.
people get it within their job, and dude, I do as well. You know what I mean? Like I have a weekly meeting where I pay X amount of money per year, and you have people that are like-minded, same net worth or around the same net worth. You know what I mean? That are holding you accountable.
Yeah.
And that's huge. So if you have that within, you know, someone at your brokerage, someone
Right.
on your team like yourself, dude, that goes a long way.
I
Yeah.
love that. Well, thank you guys again
So-
for being on. You guys provide a ton of value for the people who are listening and watching. Can't wait for the next parts to come.
Yes.
Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yes, sir.
See ya.
See you guys.
SoCal Cedeno out.